My voice was loud, and every word showed my concern for my sister and my dissatisfaction with Jack. Even the officials and noblewomen outside the tent heard everything clearly. The matron beside the Empress also felt that Jack's behavior was improper and nodded with a frown. Miss Anna is right. Lady Dingyuan is a national example of virtue. His Majesty and Her Majesty are both worried outside. Quickly summon Imperial Physician Henry from the Imperial Medical Bureau. Imperial Physician Henry was an old hand at the bureau, highly skilled in medicine, and he arrived quickly, carrying his medical kit into the tent. Jack was so anxious that sweat broke out on his forehead. He clenched the corners of his clothes tightly and still tried to step forward to stop Physician Henry. My sister-in-law only has an external wound. There is no need to take her pulse. Stop the bleeding first. In my last life, Lucy had only lightly bumped herself and remained conscious. Jack casually found an excuse and politely refused the Imperial physician. After they returned home, she secretly recovered. No one knew the secret of her pregnancy, but now she had truly slammed into the coffin, was unconscious, and could not even speak. This was the perfect chance to expose everything. Without hesitation, I stepped forward and stood in front of Jack like a mother hen protecting her chick, glaring at him with red eyes. Young Master Jack, why are you trying so hard to stop the physician from saving her? She is my own sister. I will not allow anyone to delay her treatment. With me looking like a loving sister willing to fight to protect her, who would not be moved? Just then, the Empress heard the argument inside and walked in with the help of palace maids. Her dignified gaze swept over everyone as she asked coldly, "What is going on? How badly is Lady Dingyuan hurt? Young Master Jack, why are you blocking the physician?" Jack's legs weakened and he almost fell to his knees. He stammered, "Your Majesty, I was only afraid of disturbing my sister-in-law." "Ridiculous," the Empress sneered. "Physician Henry, go treat her at once." "Yes, Your Majesty." Physician Henry immediately carried his medical kit forward and sat by the couch. At that moment, old Madame Dingyuan, who had hurried over, was also helped into the soft tent and stood to the side. Looking at Lucy with blood all over her head, the old madam looked heartbroken. Whether she was sincere or not, no one could know. But Lucy had just earned the household a second-rank honor, so the old madam had to act deeply concerned no matter what. Physician Henry took out a silk handkerchief and gently placed it over Lucy's pale wrist. The tent fell silent, with only the faint sound of everyone breathing. After a while, Physician Henry's brows furrowed slightly. He switched to her other hand, closed his eyes, and carefully felt the pulse. His expression slowly changed from confusion to shock. Finally, it turned into unspeakable alarm and fear. The physician's fingers suddenly trembled and he pulled them back as if he had been shocked. Cold sweat instantly appeared on his forehead. I had been watching him closely. Seeing that, I immediately raised my voice and shouted through tears, "Physician, what is wrong? Did something happen to my sister? Is her head injury serious?" Tears poured down my face as I threw myself beside my sister, tightly holding her cold hand and calling her name over and over. Physician Henry dropped to his knees with a thud, kowtowing repeatedly to the Empress and the old madam, his voice trembling. "Your Majesty, old madam, Lady Dingyuan's head injury is serious, but it has not damaged anything vital. With trauma medicine applied, she should be fine. It is just... The old madam grew anxious and urged him with her cane. "Just what? Why are you stammering like that?" Physician Henry swallowed, then steeled himself and replied, "I do not know if this old servant has grown too old and made a mistake, but Lady Dingyuan's pulse moves like pearls rolling on a jade plate. It is strong and slippery. It is indeed a pregnancy pulse, and it has been more than 1 month." The words pregnancy pulse struck like thunder out of nowhere. The entire soft tent instantly fell into deathly silence. The air seemed to freeze, and everyone's expression locked on their face. I was the first to break the silence. I widened my eyes and pretended I did not understand at all, saying in shock, "Physician Henry, what nonsense are you talking about? What pregnancy pulse?" The Marquis left the capital on the second day after the wedding. It has been a year. My sister has been alone all this time. How could she possibly be pregnant? Have you gone senile? Jack's face instantly turned ashen, and his whole body shook violently. Like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, he jumped up and roared sharply. "Nonsense, you quack! My sister-in-law is pure and innocent. How could she be pregnant? You are slandering the Marquis Dingyuan family's reputation." I also stood up, looking furious as I pointed at the physician and scolded him. "Physician, my elder sister has only been married into the Marquis' household for a year, but everyone praises her as gentle and virtuous. Now that the Marquis has died in battle, she was so grief-stricken that she threw herself at his coffin, not even caring about her own life. Such a loyal and chaste woman, and you dare accuse her of being pregnant? What are you trying to do?" Physician Henry was a stubborn man too. He had served in the Imperial Medical Bureau his whole life and cared most about his reputation. After being accused by us again and again, his temper rose. He straightened his back and fired back loudly. "I have served in the Imperial Medical Bureau for 40 years, through 2 reigns, and have never made such a mistake. This pregnancy pulse is like pearls rolling across a plate. If I cannot even recognize this, I might as well smash my own signboard. Miss Anna, young Master Jack, if you do not believe me, you may call other Imperial physicians to take her pulse. I am willing to guarantee it with my head." Seeing Jack sweating like rain and nearly breaking down, I knew the moment had come. I added more fuel to the fire, turned sharply, and dropped to my knees before the Empress. I kowtowed hard. "Your Majesty, please uphold justice for my sister," I cried until my voice went hoarse. "Please summon a few more Imperial physicians. The Marquis has just died in battle, his bones still cold." My sister risked her life to die with him, and her fate is still unknown. Yet a quack dares to throw this kind of filth on her name. This does not only insult my sister. It insults Marquis Dingyuan's spirit. Please, Your Majesty, investigate this thoroughly. The argument inside the tent was loud. The officials and their families outside had already heard everything clearly. The emperor had been outside discussing the funeral arrangements with the Minister of Rites. Hearing the noise inside, his face darkened. He strode in with 2 personal imperial physicians and several high-ranking officials. What is all this shouting? Where is your decorum? The emperor roared. The empress's face was grim as she stepped forward and quietly reported Physician Henry's diagnosis. The emperor's gaze swept like a blade over the unconscious Lucy and the trembling Jack. He ordered coldly, Physician John, Physician William, you two will take Lady Dingyuan's pulse. If the diagnosis is wrong, Physician Henry will answer with his head. If it is right, the emperor gave a cold snort and did not finish. The 2 physicians immediately accepted the order and stepped forward. The tent was silent. Everyone's heart was in their throat. After only a few breaths, Physician John and Physician William exchanged a glance, each seeing shock and fear in the other's eyes. They both stepped back together, knelt at the emperor's feet, and their clear voices reached everyone's ears. Your Majesty, Physician Henry spoke the truth. Lady Dingyuan is indeed pregnant, and it has been more than 1 month. I gasped and instantly covered my mouth, collapsing to the ground with a face full of disbelief. Outside the tent, the noblewomen exploded into whispers. Their murmurs surged like a tide. Good heavens, Marquis Dingyuan has been gone from the capital for a year, yet she is 1 month pregnant. Whose child is it? I heard the Marquis went to the border only a few days after the wedding. With so many lonely nights, Lady Dingyuan must have failed to control herself and done something improper. You really cannot judge a person by their face. Just now she was crying and trying to die on the coffin, and everyone thought she was a loyal widow. Turns out she was pregnant with a bastard and wanted to die to protect her reputation. My goodness, she was just personally named a virtuous widow by the emperor, and now she is found pregnant. This is deceiving the emperor. I have never heard of anything like this. I think the inner court of the Marquis Dingyuan household may not be clean either. Tisk, that younger brother-in-law is old enough to marry but never has, and he hangs around his sister-in-law every day. Who knows? Every word was like a loud slap across the faces of the Marquis Dingyuan family and the Duke Wei family. The emperor and empress's faces grew darker and darker, like the night sky before a storm. The emperor had just praised her as a model for all women and issued a decree naming her a virtuous widow. Now he had been slapped in the face. This was a public challenge to imperial authority. Old Madame Dingyuan's vision went dark, and she nearly fainted. She gripped the matron's hand tightly, trembling all over, her eyes fixed on Lucy lying on the bed as she was about to explode. With a weak groan, at this critical moment, Lucy let out a faint sound and slowly opened her eyes. When she woke up, she had not yet noticed the strange atmosphere around her. She only felt as if her forehead were splitting open. With hazy eyes, she looked at the room full of people and immediately slipped back into the role of a loyal widow. Her face was full of sorrow. She struggled to get up as tears fell like broken beads. Why? Why did you save me? She cried weakly, her voice tragically beautiful. Let me follow my husband. His body was never found. What meaning is there in living? I would rather die cleanly. If this had been half an hour earlier, those words would have made everyone cry. But now, what greeted her was a room full of cold contempt. Old Madame Dingyuan could no longer hold back. She suddenly broke free from the matron's support, rushed to the couch in a few steps, and spat hard at Lucy. Bah, you shameless slut. You still have the nerve to mention Tom? You still dare to talk about living and dying? Lucy was completely confused after being spat on. She stared blankly at the mother-in-law who had always been kind to her and murmured, Mother, what are you talking about? Your daughter-in-law did not. Before she could finish, I rushed forward in a rage, grabbed her wrist and cried out in heartbreak. Sister, how could you be so foolish? Whose child is in your belly? Lucy's face instantly turned deathly pale, and her mind exploded with a buzzing sound.